Good afternoon, exiles. Are you tired of garden hoses that kink up and these fittings being a pain to thread on, cross-threading, leaking all the time? Me and Sarah are too. So we upgraded to these big, thick hoses that are hard to kink up. Some shut-off valves. Some quick disconnects and some other things to make life easier with the garden hoses. So let me show you how that all works. Alright, so these are all the parts we're going to use, and I know it looks like a lot, but let me explain what's going on here and then we'll put it together. So this is why it allows to hook both garden hoses to the spigot, and it's going to be the only thread-to-thread connection we're going to use. Well, I guess the quick disconnects will be thread to each other. And then on each one of these will be the threaded the quick disconnects. So this is a male quick disconnect that's going to screw onto the male end of the Y. And this is the female end, which goes onto the female end of the hose, because we don't want to reverse the hoses around and have all kinds of issues that way. So we want to make sure the female end of the hose is replaced with the female quick disconnect, and the male end of the hose will get replaced with the male quick disconnect. They make all kinds of different combinations. It took us a minute to figure out which ones we wanted. So the way these work is you just pull back on this collar and put this in there. It's a little stiff because these are new. I'm sure they'll wear in and work a little bit better. And I'm sure they'll work better under pressure and with water in them. But so they work the same way as air hoses do. That's what I was trying to think of. If you've ever used air hoses, only air hoses have a valve in them, so when you disconnect them, the air doesn't leak out. These no such luck, so you gotta make sure you turn the water off first. Speaking of that, we want to be able to hook up a faucet or anything we want to, sprayer or anything we want to the other end. So for the end of the hoses, we got these valves. All of them were, we took a while to find one with any brass in it. Most of them were all plastic. We had to go to a different store to get these all brass ones, and the all brass ones have plastic here, and the ball in the middle is plastic too. So they're not all brass, they just have a brass body. And let's start putting the garden hose together. Alright, it's probably not necessary, but I'm going to take a pair of channel locks here and make sure these are nice and tight. That way we never have to worry about it leaking. But I'm pretty sure hand tight's good enough. I just want to make sure I don't over tighten it. It's brass, and I don't think it's that high quality of brass. It's sad that you can't buy things of good quality anymore. Alright, you don't need to watch me thread all these on. That'd be boring. Alright, so here's the spigot with the Y adapter and quick releases on it. The spigot is going to have to be replaced, and yes, I know, weed eating is on the to-do list. So, all we have to do is plug these two garden hoses in. Now, look at how tight these garden hoses are coiled from the factory. That's a pain in the butt to deal with, and they have that memory in them. And I don't know if you've ever had to fight with those. So the first thing we're going to do is shut these valves off on the end of the garden hose. And remember, to shut a valve off, you put the valve handle perpendicular to the flow. Turn a valve on, straight line with the flow, so the flow can go with the handle. That's how you remember it. Or at least that's how I do. So we'll turn these on. Not impressed with the quality of these valves here. Should loosen up with time though. So those are on, these two are off. Let's see if we get wet. Like I said, this valve does need to be replaced. Alright, all the quick releases and stuff are working fine. We got the hoses full of water. Uncoil them. Bring them out here. See this taking up massive. Oh, just smacked myself in the face with all that brass. Safety tip, don't hit yourself in the face. So I'll finish spreading these out, and then we'll leave them out here, bright day in the sun. We'll shut the valves on the Ys off and shut the water off to the leaking spigot, and that'll leave the hoses full and under pressure, straightened out, and the sun will heat up the rubber and take most of the memory out of it. The hardware store, these garden hose doodad holder things. And what's nice about these, they just slide out of the ground and you can pick them up and put them wherever we need them. And we also put quick disconnects on the end of both the sprayers. So one of us could be using one garden hose to spray, the other one uses the other garden hose. Or if we need more length, since it's male, so let's say this is the garden hose. Let me move down a little. So let's say this is the end of the garden hose. Connect to this side of the Y. It's not, but let's say it is. We can disconnect the female hose. Well, let's just do it. This is the male end of this garden hose. Let's say we need to make it longer. I can just disconnect this. And yeah, like I said, there's pressure underneath. If there's pressure in here, it will spray out because there's no valve like an airline. Hook them together, and now instead of a 250-foot garden hose, we have 100-foot one with a valve in the middle, which is far more useful than a 200-foot garden hose. Let's hook this back up. Fill that garden hose back up. That way it gets straightened out in the sun. And I'll straighten out the other one. So I hope I was trying to prove, hold on a second, let me fix that. That's way too bright. That's a lot better. Alright, so I hope this little video on what we're doing to improve our garden hose situation, make life more convenient, and makes it more likely we'll do watering plants as we put landscaping stuff in. And nobody likes dealing with kinky hoses or having to try to hook a sprayer up to and not having a valve to turn on and off. None of that. We don't have to worry about any of that anymore. Problem solved. So I hope you find this useful and helpful, and let me know in the comments if you decide to go ahead and do something similar to this. So thank you for joining me on the journey to use God's gifts to grow His kingdom, prepare for the future, and live a better life. So a little PS, if you're tired of losing sprayers like we are, I've always been looking for sprayers my whole life. So I made a little zip tie handle. I'm not gonna look for zip tie or for sprayers ever again.